Yeah, it's Ben Burgis, a progressive commentator and host of the show Give Them an Argument. Thanks so much for coming back on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so what am I getting wrong here?
Thanks so much for having me, Dan. So to my mind, one thing you're getting right is when you say that the central question is not whether we agree or disagree with the rulings. I would say the central question is who should get to decide. We're talking not about like financial penalties for individuals like the cases that you mentioned, but core policy issues that matter for our entire society, like whether women have a right to choose nationally, whether we're going to chip away at labor unions' rights to strike, which is what a Supreme Court decision last year did, whether we're going to have like meaningful anti-corruption laws. The Supreme Court's going to make that impossible. The question should be, yeah. Well, I was just going to say the question should be: is this something we should decide democratically, which is how most liberal democracies, like Canada or the UK, for example, work, or should we invest all this power in this elite institution?
All right, so that's a disagreement that you have about. A, I guess the structural issues, but B, the cases that the court has agreed to take and hear. Do you then agree with me that these claims of the illegitimacy of the court are just very bad for the country as a whole?
I don't. I think that it's bad for the country as a whole if we don't get to democratically decide these things. If instead you have 9 people who are almost always graduates of Harvard or Yale appointed for life, getting to act as a super legislature, overturning democratically decided public policy. I mean, like, just one quick point about this. Read the dissents in any of these major cases, not, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene got some fines and they upheld it, but cases that actually decide important policy issues for the entire country. These are obviously things, oftentimes they're party line votes. The conservatives all vote one way, the liberals all vote the other way. Any decent constitutional lawyer can make an argument on either side of that. So I think the idea that this is a sort of body that floats above politics just doesn't really make sense.
No, look, that I agree. Look, I get it. And I'm not going to say, oh, the court just decides things based on the law. There's no such thing, right? Everyone has their bias. And in particular, I think that the courts in general have allowed their personal views, right, to come into play in assessing. But I want to keep coming back to what I view as the most important issue here, right, is this claim of illegitimacy, meaning it scares the heck out of me when people on either side, when I hear the governor of Oklahoma say that you can reject the Supreme Court opinion, when I hear AOC talk about the illegitimacy of the court, it scares me because we need somebody to be the decider in the end, because there are going to be some difficult issues, I think, that are going to be coming up in the years to come, and even maybe in the months to come, maybe over this election. Who knows? But whether we agree with them or not, we need someone to make those decisions. And I think these justices have shown that even though it's a very conservative court, they're not just going to make decisions purely based on partisan motives.
Well, I don't think they're necessarily going to make decisions based on purely partisan motives in individual cases like the ones involving Marjorie Taylor Greene or the Trump lawyers, where there are less controversial legal principles at stake. But I do think that they're going to make political decisions when it comes to these giant questions with society-wide implications, like should women have a right to choose? Like, should we uphold, the structure of labor laws that's existed since the 1930s that the right is trying to undermine right now? And I think when you have a court that has been on a tear on those kinds of questions of aggressively imposing, right-wing policy preferences, then I think it makes a lot of sense that that you have this sense of illegitimacy, this sense of, hey, wait a second, on questions like that, shouldn't we all democratically be the final deciders?
Here's what I appreciate about what you're doing, right? You are not doing what I hear others do, which infuriates me so much, which is to just say that the court is illegitimate. You are criticizing the way that you disagree with how the court does what it does. And everyone is entitled to their opinion on that. Ben Burgis, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.